Welcome to the last episode of the Siege of Winterfell Commander Skills. Today we're gonna have a look at the Bowmen commanders and their skills, and also we will try to figure out what the best deployment is for Bowmen in Siege of Winterfell, and also discuss and agree on whether or not Bowmen are actually good to use in this event. Stay tuned. Let's go. Alright, so first up is going to be Eckbert, and we all know Eckbert. It's a commander that we got from the Westeros Pass, so he's technically free to play. If you look at his setup, there are two passive skills and of course the active skills. The passive skill is total defense up to a maximum of 75% and increase Bowman attack by 250%. Now that is huge, so it's very important for him. In terms of his active skill, it's called Dance of Crows, and it costs only 700 rage. It grants your troops endurance, reducing counterattack damage taken by 80%, and blessing, increasing healing received by 80%. Again, a very nice skill. It's very good for survivability. So all in all, I'd say this is a very good commander for a Bowman deployment. Next, let's talk about Kravas. He's a free-to-play commander. You can get him from the Weirwood Trials. You can also buy his medals for tokens from the Weirwood Memories, up to 300 medals a month. So he's easy to get. Now, what he gives in Siege of Winterfell is Bowman attack up to 150%. That's his passive skill. And the active skill is called Immortal Illusion. This is a rage cost of 800. It deals skill damage directly in a coefficient of 880, and also inflicts bleed with dealing damage per second for 4 seconds in a coefficient of 450. It also then gives hesitation. Enemies have 75% chance to fall into hesitation, making them unable to use their skills. So the active skill is pretty interesting. It gives a lot of damage. However, the fact that he only has one passive skill is going to make it hard to work with. Moving on, we're gonna find now Melisandre. Now, Melisandre is a paid commander. However, it's so long since I got her that I don't really remember how much it costs to get her. Moving on to her Siege of Winterfell skills, she has two passive skills, Bowman defense and attack, both up to 150%. So a pretty decent setup. Now, her active skill is called Flame Sacrifice. Quite a befitting name, to be honest. And it costs 800 rage. What it does is it deals damage, area of effect damage, in a coefficient of 400 to enemies in a circular area, maximum of 3 targets. And it also inflicts bleed. Now, whether it inflicts bleed on the same 3 targets or just on the direct target, I'm not sure. This bleed also gives 300 damage coefficient per second for 4 seconds. So that's a total of 1200 damage coefficient. Now, it also has a passive effect, which increases the defense and health of your bowmen for 150% for 4 seconds. So basically it helps with the survivability. If you're under attack, this skill will make your bowman survive a little longer. Let's have a look at Lady Sansa now, the Queen of the North, the Queen of Shade. First up, she's got two passive skills. As a free-to-play commander, that's expected, and she provides Bowman attack up to 150% as well as Bowman health up to 150%. So those are pretty good base skills that should give her a push into your deployment. Now what makes her one of the most important bowman commander out there is her active skill. It's called, I'm getting Ladies Consolation, and it costs 800 rage. Now what this does, it heals your troops, wounded soldiers. So the ones that are, when you get a report in Siege of Winterfell, you have the wounded and the seriously wounded. Now the seriously wounded, the heal skills cannot bring back. However, the wounded ones can be brought back with healing skills. So that's what Sansa heals in a coefficient of 100. Now, in the next 7 seconds from the start of the skill, it grants your troops an effect of 125% defense. That's total defense, and it can stack every second. Effect lasts for 3 seconds, so that means that in the third second you will have 375 defense, and that will last for 5 seconds, then it will go down by 125 and another 125, and then it stops. But then again, totally out of 12 seconds you have a total defense bonus for 7 of them. So I think it's a very good skill, obviously a healing as well, so it's probably gonna go very, very close to the top. Next up, another free-to-play commander. It's Sheila, the one we get at the very beginning of the game along with Chris, and a lot of us are using her still in the training grounds and in Weirwood, so it's a very important commander. Now in Siege of Winterfell, however, she only comes with one passive skill of Bowmen attack 150%. So one passive skill, not gonna put her up on the ranks very much. However, she does have an active skill as well. It's called Rain of Arrows. It costs 650 rage, so it's quite inexpensive, and it deals damage coefficient of 600 to the target. So it's a direct damage skill. It also inflicts bleed, dealing skill damage in a coefficient of 200 every second for 4 seconds, so that adds another 800 damage over 4 seconds to the existing 600 for a total of 1400 damage. It also has one more effect. It increases the attack of your bowman by 150%, which cannot stack, and that also lasts for 4 seconds. So a total of 300% bowman attack bonus for 4 seconds every 12 seconds, and the damage skill that we already discussed. It's a decent skill, so if you don't have the paid commanders, probably you can use her. Alright, so we're almost done. 2 more commanders to go. First up, Soren. Now, Soren, free-to-play commander, very important for early game, very important for city development, however, not very important in Siege of Winterfell. And why is that? Well, he does not have passive skills. He only has one active skill. It's called Arrow Volley. It costs 800 rage, and it deals 880 damage coefficient to enemy targets in a conical area. So he has an AoE, maximum of 3 targets in a conical area that receive this damage, and inflicts Nightmare, increasing the skill damage taken by 50% for 7 seconds. So as a kind of a combo, if you have a lot of damage dealers in your deployment, then you could use this as a very strong direct damage creator. However, the lack of passive skills is not going to cut it for me, at least, and he's not going to be in my bowman deployment. Alright, so I left the best for last. It's Theon Greyjoy, ladies and gentlemen. The paid commander that comes with a lot of bonuses and is now available to be awakened as well. So I think he is probably the best bowman commander there. Now let's see why that is. In terms of passive skills, he has 3 of them, One of them is total attack. So that means that you can use Theon not only in a Bowman deployment, but also as a commander in one of the other deployments you have, more mixed one or such. He also of course comes with Bowman health and Bowman defense of 150%. So steady and serious commander free skills, so that gives him an early bonus. Now in terms of the active skill, it's called Ironborn Strike. It comes with a cost of rage of 800, and here's what it does. After 3 seconds, creates an AoE damage region at the target location lasting 4 seconds that reduces the attack, defense and health of all enemies in range, maximum of 5 targets, by 150%. So that is a huge debuff. It also inflicts Fear of War. Enemies have a 100% chance to fall into Fear of War, rendering them unable to use normal attacks or counters. So basically, silence. So it's a huge debuff AoE skill that comes along with very strong passive skills as well. So I have to say that Theon is probably the top Bowman commander out there. If you don't agree, please let me know in the comments. Now we'll move on to the rankings. So as I was saying, here come the rankings, guys. Now staying just outside the podium are 4 commanders. They are Soren, Sheila, Kravas and Melisandre. I believe that their skills added together compared to the remaining 3 do not give them a spot in your deployment. So unless you do not you do not have all 3 of the other commanders, I would not recommend using these 4. Now the top 3 in my choice are the following. At number 3, we're gonna have Eckbert with his 250% attack bonus for Bowmen, as well as that survivability active skill. I believe that gives him a really big bonus and should be part of your Bowman deployment. At number 2, and to be honest, I would put them together at number 1, but at number 2, let's say Sansa, with her healing skill as well as the passive skills. I guess the only drawback is that she only has 2 passive skills, so that's why she'll make it only to 2nd place. And of course, king of the Bowmen, it's Theon Greyjoy with his amazing 3 passive skills and a huge debuff active skill. As we discussed earlier, he should be present in every Bowman deployment if you have him. I would say it's worth using from maybe blue or purple quality, because his active skill is the same no matter the quality, while of course the passive skills depend on his quality. So I would say from blue quality up, Theon is a must-have in your Bowman deployment in Siege of Winterfell. Now, of course, I was saying that we'd discuss whether or not Bowmen are useful in Siege of Winterfell, and let me tell you, they are. They give a lot of damage as long as you keep your Bowman deployment outside of the middle of the fight, so they don't get pinched and they don't get directly attacked. You will rack up huge kills, and they also they must stay close to your deployments that have Annie, that give extra healing. If you have other Theons and other Sansas around you, that can keep them going even better. It's not a deployment that you should use solo. If you just go with your Bowmen, if you get caught, they're done in 10 seconds and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you play them smart, they are probably a very good deployment that you can use to rack up a lot of individual points. Alright, well, that's about it. I hope you liked it, and that sums up the commander list for Siege of Winterfell. I hope I covered everything, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments or come and talk to me on Discord. Thanks again. It's Nergal. Take care.